Hi there, this is Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more, the worldwide TV network, Women's Broadcast TV Network, and IT 247 out of Tennessee. So here we are, show number 30 and counting. Very honored to talk to this young lady. We had Linda out of president of Swift out of Tennessee reached out to us on certain people who we talked to last year at Southern Women in Film and Television in, Nashville, Tennessee last year at Lipscomb University.
Right.
And it was an honor because we had a lot of people at our workshop. We had 40 people in our workshop. And it turned out that you were in our workshop. So we were the only.
I was in the workshop.
All right. So without this, talk about what's your name, who you are, how we met, because we met and then we reconnected. And it's been all this time.
Well, I'm Tahiera Monique Brown. I'm with Darkness to Light Films out of Birmingham, Alabama. And I'm the vice president of Women in Film and Television of Central Alabama here. We're new here, but I'm a writer and a professional speaker as well. So I have a book out that I've been circulating for a while. And I'm working on 2 other books to try to get out pretty soon. So that's the gist of me. I'm just plain old Tahiera Monique and Brown.
That's very good. But also, I remember we got a chance to talk to you, which was actually pretty good. And then Jessica jumped on. So let me say hi to Jessica. Jessica, let's test your sound. You look good.
Hi, thank you. So do you. Can you hear me okay? Hello.
Uh-huh. So I'm going to say Ms. Brown because always respect everybody. And again, women in the South, whether a color or not, are very important. And we'll get into Jessica and how she saved us in a bit. But continue, because not only in the background, you have the book that you wrote and what happened to you, but you're also doing stuff film-related industry. Talk about that.
Well, what I'm trying to do now is I'm working on a film project called The Prayer. And also I'm in negotiations with people to do some other things around. I can't talk about it right now because we're still negotiating. But right now I'm working on a film called The Prayer. And The Prayer is based on my memoir called Annihilator of Innocence. So that's what we are working on. And right now, since we're in this downtime, we did shoot a couple of trailers, selling trailers. And while we're in this downtime, what we're doing now is trying to negotiate the deals, trying to get deals on the table to shoot the film and bring attachments to the project. So that's keeping me busy with that. And I'm loving that part. In Alabama, as far as the film industry is concerned, right now, I did start a roundtable some time ago. But as you know, we can't come together. So the best thing to do is do Zoom meetings to continue conversations about the film industry and talking about the dynamics that's changing in the film industry. So that's where I'm at right now.
What is it about Alabama that makes it it's a hidden place to go? The films that have been shot there have become hits. I just talked to Edie's son, Linkhand, when he shot movie 42 down there, and he gave that to us last week.
Well, the thing with Birmingham is the demographics. It is off the chain. When I first moved here from Atlanta, all I saw was movies. I could just see films being shot here. But not only that is once you bring a film here, it's the Southern charm. It's the people, they want to work with you. They want to satisfy you. They want to make you happy. So when you get here and work on a project, you work and you get what you need out of people. And you don't have to beg or holler for it. It's just a beautiful place to film. Everywhere from here, from north to south, east to west. It's a gorgeous location to film in. Just about everything you're looking for, especially in urban communities, areas that's very downtrodden. You got lakes, you got streams, you got mountains, you got very unique looking caverns here. So yeah, Alabama is. If I had the money, I would never stop filming. Like I said, I got to talk to some people. But if I had the money, I would never stop filming in Birmingham.
All right, Jessica, it's good to see you. Saved our butts last year. It's almost been a year. Jessica, how did we meet? Tell us who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, we met at the Women in Film and Television Conference. That was at Lipscomb in Nashville, Tennessee. And that was June. I think that was June of last year. And I had just decided to attend the conference, and one of your seminars or workshops that you offered, I decided to attend. And so we crossed paths a little bit in the hallway, and people were mingling and networking and whatnot. And somehow, I guess, I don't know, at some point we finally spoke. I think we had kind of been communicating just non-verbal prior to that. And so we were kind of drawn to each other and started conversing. And yeah, we just kind of, it all happened there. And then after that, I'll let you continue.
You made our workshop, right?
Yes.
So it's interesting. Both of you were in the workshop. Do you guys remember kind of meeting each other?
No, I don't
Oh,
think so. Do you remember me? I spoke at workshops about filmmaking and somewhat of the dynamics of filmmaking. I spoke on that workshop. But your face do look familiar to me.
I was good. Yeah. Now I was like, oh
I'm,
wait, you look familiar. So
yeah, I'm Tahiera Brown. I'm the one with the hat.
yes. Okay, great. Well, good to see you again as well.
Thank you. You too.
Well, the fun thing about that is, and Jessica, I'm going to send you the workshop because it finally went up last night, early this morning, West Coast time.
Great.
So I'll send it to you. But the thing about that is that Jessica and I ended up starting to talk, and then she gave us a ride to do our shows. That was June
Wow.
4th of last year. So she saved us because we didn't know how we were going to get there. It was going to be too late. She just happened to still be on the university and got us there in time. So she started
Wow.
one or maybe two of the shows out of the four that we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was able to watch and observe. It was very, very cool how it all came to be, and it was nice to meet the people that offered their.
Oh yeah, and Jimmy Adams, yep, and the people from IT247. So yeah, so that's what I've been liking about Tennessee and then Swiss Southern Women in Film and TV and television.
Which is so nice.
They just have some great women down there. What I met, and I like what I've been seeing. You beautiful women in the South. I wouldn't be surprised if I married one of you guys from the South. But, that's another story. We'll see what happens. But it's good because not only, as you were saying, it's the Southern hospitality. It is great location. They got some great films down there. The locations is really good, but I think it's really the people that really make it, is what I've observed down there.
Absolutely. The people in the South are just amazing. It's once you meet them, you met a friend, it's a friend for life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I've discovered. And we talk about things, of course, Southern women are known to yada yada a bit. So so that's what we're known for. That connection happens. I know. Once that connection happens, just like her and I, we're talking over each other. We got stuff to say, but it's all in love, and it's all in fun, and it's all in respect and appreciation for each other. So yeah, that's a Southern thing.
So talk about what you're doing on the board for Women in the South in Alabama now. And then Jessica, after she speaks, talk about you not being able to go on cruise ships as that actress and everything also.
What I'm doing with Women in Film and Television of Central Alabama is we're just organizing. We've been working on it for years, trying to get it, or deciding how we was going to organize. What would our message be as Women in Film and Television here in Birmingham, Alabama? Actually, our goal was to be able to work with the film community that are spread out all over the place and find out who they are, what they're doing, what do they want, what do they desire, to try to fulfill those things. But the main focus of us is that the women come together with all of our different talents, working together to be able to be stewards, to be able to train, to be able to educate, to bring in students, college students, high school students, to bring them all together, to be able to come as one unit. And then as projects come along, to be able to know that we could supply the demand and know that people are learning a lot of facts about the film industry, learning what's happening all over the world. What is happening in Germany? What is happening in Japan? What is happening in China? What is happening, in LA? What's happening in New York? Because once we really get projects started here, it's an extension of other places that will make that project a reality. So if we have a project coming in from LA, well, who all is attached to that project in LA that's attached to the British community? So we want to be able to open the doors in our organization to say everybody's welcome. And we are women that want to work proudly with other women in the communities abroad that's working in women in film abroad that are doing the things that they do, so that we all can come together and all of us can be unique in what we do, but not divided, but join as women strong together.
Jessica, how do you like that?
I think it sounds amazing. I love it.
Well, you know,
Thank
one of the
you.
things there's a couple of things I really liked about Jessica is because she was there. She wasn't afraid to go by herself to these panels in the workshops. She wanted to keep going back, and then she came to our show and she bailed us out. Those are the people that I'm looking for. There's people who are willing to take a chance. And then I found her fascinating because she had an interesting
Right.
background. And I said, I'm going to utilize you. You just don't know when I'm going to be calling. So we've been in contact since then. And like you said,
I'm ready to hear. What is it? What is it?
All right. Talk about
Oh, okay.
that actress and everything you do. And then I'm gonna utilize her as a co-host for movie reviews and more, because I told her I would, because I liked her energy and I liked that she was a go-getter back then.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's see, I've been performing on cruise ships. My first cruise ship was back in 2008. But I haven't done all of the contracts back to back. I needed some downtime in between. It's a very specific kind of life, and there are people who really love it, and there are people who just, it's not their thing. I mean, you really have to make sacrifices. You're gone for such a long amount of time. You're not able to see your loved ones, or maybe your spouses, or whoever it is that you're leaving at home. Your living spaces are not very large. Everything is just all very small and enclosed, and so you really have to have a lot of patience and understand that this is the life that I'm going to live for the next 6 to 11 months, and these are the people that I'm going to live with. So you just that's what you do. But for me, I think because I do love people so much, and I don't know, like to kind of piggyback off of the southern vibe, that southern charm, whatever you want to call it, it just comes naturally. It's not like I think about it or that I pretend. It just comes out. And maybe I got it from my mother too. My mother is the biggest hugger in the world. Like if she met both of you, immediately she would hug you. Oh, Jessica's talked about you, and then she'd hug you. So I feel like that kind of, that's in me too. So I have loved being on ships and being able to do what I love to do. I mean, music is my passion. Performing is my passion. When I get on stage, it just makes me so excited. And to be able to make other people feel good. If you've had a bad day, or if something happened, like for instance, maybe if say the guest on the cruise ship had a bad day, or they didn't get to go to their excursion, something happened with their excursion, and they decided, well, we can't go, but let's go see a show tonight. If I can make them forget for 2 seconds with the song that I sang, or whatever happened on stage, if they forgot what was going on and I took them to another place and it took them to a better place, then my work is done. This is what I want to do. And so to be able to do that kind of thing on ships and carry it all over the world has been just such a blessing. And I'm so thankful to have had the opportunity to do this for as long as I have. And that's why my heart goes out to, I mean, there are still crew members now who are still stuck on ships, and it's hard enough when life is normal, much less when it's just in chaos like it is right now. Yeah. And, there were news stories saying that everybody's been returned home. No, this is not true. They are still on ships. They are still trying to survive. They're still trying to stay positive. And, that's it.
And you know what that's like to do that. That's not easy.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, like I said, even on a regular day, you have moments where you're like, oh, good gracious, can I just get away from this? But you can't. And that's just how it is. So, I have been singing on cruise ships. When I am not performing on cruise ships, I've been able to find work just performing in live theater. Last year, I joined a group called the Bells of Franklin, which is actually it's a historic town south of Nashville. And it was a female trio, and we would perform and sing to primarily veterans. And that was a lot of fun. just, and again, it's when you've got there, we met a how old, and he was just so excited and happy and all smiles, and we were bringing back memories that he, with songs that we sang, he would tell us stories about what happened or where he was at that moment when he heard that song, that kind of thing. And that's what it's all about. And with with movies,
Yeah,
it's the same thing, that the whole point is you love it so much, and you want to be able to share that with other people so that you can hopefully bring something to them as well. I mean, that's what it's about.
absolutely. Absolutely.
About the prayer and how that came into being, because you got an interesting story. Go ahead.
Wait,
Oh,
say again. What did you say?
Oh no, Tahiera.
Oh.
oh, well, it is an interesting story as to how I came into the film industry. I had been asked to do projects. I worked between stage and singing and stuff like that, and then my situation began which is explained in my book, "Annihilate of Innocence," is about my story where my children and I were held hostage for 2 years, and the guy that held us hostage, we ended up working on Tyne Daly's movie called Kids Like These. And he was behind her when she was having a discussion, and the special needs young man spoke. And he was a fantastic young man, by the way. I was sitting in the audience, and the casting person recognized me. So I ended up in the hospital in a coma from the choice that I made to save my children. And while I was in the coma, my daughter brought me a bunch of business cards, and one of the business cards was to this casting person. So I called the casting person when I got out of the hospital because I needed to connect with these people for the trial. So when I called her, she says, "I remember you. I remember you from the movie Kids Like These. I admired you, and I want you to assist me in casting." I didn't know what casting was. And she says, "I'm working on a movie. You're getting ready to do the movie called RoboCop 3, and In the Heat of the Night is coming, and I need someone to assist me with extras casting." And I said yes. I was too stupid to know I could have had a choice. I said yes. She would come and drag me wherever we needed to go to prepare for RoboCop. Um, In the Heat of the Night came in, and we would go down wherever we needed to find talent. We found talent in their homes. We get them up in the mornings. I would cast with 5 quarters. I lived in the hood, as you may call it. I didn't have a phone because I just got out of the hospital. Everything was off. So I would have 5 quarters. The neighborhood knew that pay phone was my phone. So if the phone rang, they would come to my door, knock on the door, and say, "That's the movie lady.
It's for you.
They're calling you to cast for a movie." So I run down with my 5 quarters, call 5 people, have 5 people, call 5 people, have 5 people. And I would be there in the mornings because the people that wanted to work in the film would come and pick me up because I didn't have a car. Like I said, I was relearning everything because I had been in a coma. So I was relearning everything. I didn't know how to drive, especially anywhere yet. So they would pick me up. They would hang at my house overnight to be on the set early the next morning. So it became like a hangout for the actors, and a lot of those actors that went on to become great, people. And that's how I began in the career of film. I learned film on the set. And I was a lot of times in the wrong places on the set in different different areas, so they'd be sending me away, but they couldn't send me away until they gave me what I came for. So that was the way that I got to be known on the film sets in Atlanta, Georgia, working
Wow.
on. So I did "I'll Fly Away." I sent extras for Glory extras for In the Heat of the Night for all the years they shot. Then I did independence commercials and stuff like that. So I just began to be known as, I cast the people straight from the street. And even when I shoot films here, I use a lot of people that's never worked in the industry. I use actors that's never been on a set. I give them an opportunity to try something new. And I say, "Here's my business card, check me out." So especially when it comes to kids, I like to make sure the parents know who I am. And I like to work with young people that are excited about being in film, and old people that's still young people that likes to be in film.
Mhm, mhm.
So
Talk
that's how it
about that.
began.
Man, that's really good work. How long were you in a coma for?
I don't remember exactly how long, but I was in the hospital for 2 months.
Wow. Wow.
And I had to relearn basic skills. So I didn't know when my brother would come and get me, I didn't know who he was. I would call him that man that says he's my brother. And I didn't know one floor from the other in the hospital. So when they used to take us shopping, the ones that had memory problems and stuff, I used to call it the commissary, but I didn't know that the commissary was reflecting on when my father was in military. So I called it the commissary when it was just a little shopping area. And I didn't know how to spend money, so I would just put whatever I wanted. I love chocolate. I would just grab bars of chocolate because someone gave me a piece of chocolate, and I was like, I like that. So I would just grab a bunch of them, throw them on the counter, and throw my money on it. They'll show me that I only had $1 if I only get one. So they'll take the other 4 or 5 I put them back and say, we'll save these for you. So so my journey to learning was always on film sets. So that's really how I learned to live in life, was being on film sets. And then crew people would teach me things on the set. So I would tell people, if I can do this, you can do that. And so when I moved to Birmingham, I wrote a book. I wrote the book, Annihilate of Innocence. And the next thing I know, I was traveling, speaking on domestic violence when I really wanted to speak on stalking and hostage situations. So now, that vision is coming to pass. I'm working on my own movie, on my own story. I'm utilizing a lot of new talent and crew. And that's my story as to how I got into the industry.
Talk about how, because, and I think we just briefly talked about that, but I'm concerned that a lot of women are going through a lot of domestic violence right now, and with the loneliness.
Absolutely.
About that?
Absolutely. You got to understand it. My being a hostage, I was behind closed doors with the perpetrator. And everywhere I went, I was still a hostage with the perpetrator, because my physical form was the form that kept other people alive. As I knew he had weapons, but people around me did not know he had weapons. So a victim do what they can, not only to protect themselves and their children, but they're also trying to protect other people that may become victims, because the victimizer is also threatening other people, like the mother and the father, or their best friend, or some of the perpetrator goes after those people you love the most. So even little children, with my children, did whatever they could do to make sure I was safe when they were in school, because they had to go to school, or people would be knocking on the door, which is something the perpetrator didn't want. He tried that for a while, but people knocked on the door. So the kids went to school, but they wouldn't tell because they was afraid of what would happen to me, and they would be given a lecture on what to be like and how to act in school. So one day, you have to realize that there are other people that will help you. A lot of mothers have made that decision to walk away, and she's lost her life for the sake of the kids. My children, at one point, especially my daughter, was angry at me for the choice that I made to save them, because they lost their mother, the mother that I was. Because when I came home, I was a child that really needed to relearn everything, and my kids had to be my parents. And so it's really hard on the kids, even after domestic violence, after situations like what I went through, because they don't understand. They're born into this world innocent, and they don't understand why they are being victimized, why mom is being victimized, or dad is being victimized, because women do it too. They don't understand, why is this happening to us? And why does it have to be in my family, So I know that there are very powerful, very strong single family households out there that are raising amazing kids. So bad people don't always come from bad situations. Some people just make a choice to be a bad seed. That has nothing to do with whether they was born rich or whether they was born in the hood, as they call it, or because there are really nice people in the hood. It's the few that act out to make it bad for everybody. But in the end of the day, those that shut up behind closed doors are in more danger, because they have nowhere to run when the anger reaches a certain point, or they have no way to be able to calm the waters, as you may say. Sometimes if the perpetrator can leave home, he can slam the door and just leave the house for a few minutes, or be at work, give himself time to calm down. Now with this lockdown, they're telling everybody you can't go out unless it's a certain way, so you have to have a mask on. You have to have, so that all of that gives energy to the storm that's in these dark shadows of these houses. So I try to be, when I'm speaking and I'm traveling and I speak, I try to be the voice on the other side of crying, because it was another voice like mine that saved me. Is I heard a voice while I was a hostage on television. It was an interviewer, and he said, victimizers are annihilators of innocence. And he was talking about similar situations like mine. And my perpetrator thought it was a funny show, but I saw it as, that man, if he's on the other side, if a person like him is there, he is there for me. And I'm going to reach out for him. I'm going to find him. And when I was a hostage, I had a talk show called A World of Issues. And I was interviewing a homicide detective. Am I talking too long?
No, this is your story.
Oh.
This is your great platform.
So I had a homicide detective on my show that picked up that something was wrong. He took his business card and balled it up in a little tiny piece, put it in the palm of my hand, and pushed my hand so I could put it in my pocket out of the eyesight of my perpetrator, because my perpetrator was actually working on that show, and every time he was on that show, he had a gun. So I had to do my talk show with people knowing I had a perpetrator with a weapon on my show.
Wow.
And he gave the perpetrator card, smiling at him because the perpetrator was all enlightened to meet a homicide detective. And so when the time came, there was an opportunity that came up. I was able to give my card to my daughter, and I was able to tell her, I'm going to do something to end this. I don't know how it's going to end up, but here's a homicide detective's card. If you can go to school, don't come home, take this card to the homicide detective. But when she got to school, by the time she got to school, she found out I was in a coma, and she started screaming, "He done killed my mom." And the perpetrator ended up being surrounded by, he didn't have a guess that I had so many friends, so many connections that came to the hospital when they knew I was there. And that was how the hospital staff, there was a particular nurse that took to me that said, this woman doesn't look like someone that would commit suicide. And she began to harness her strength to protect me at all times while I was in that hospital, in that coma, until I came out of that coma, until I left that hospital. So God placed angels around me, people I had never met, faces I had never seen. I trusted God, but some people lose their lives trying to save their children. So we celebrate that every year with different organizations, those who, I'm getting emotional, I'm sorry, but those who don't make it on the other side, but their death saved some people they loved. So that is why I try to train my voice to be the savior on the other side. That if someone like me can hear my voice on the other side, my voice is the voice on the other side of crying.
Well, I toast you with my empty glass, but I toast you for what you've gone through, because
Thank
that
you.
story is good. And I did read your book, but I got to read it again because, wow, you're bringing back things that I can remember on it, because I've seen things like this. I've talked to people who have gone through the situation, but I don't recall anybody who's gone through your situation and where you are. That's a rarity to find. Give social media links so people can find you, your book, and what you're working on.
Well, I'm on Instagram as Darkness to Light Films, or Tahiera Monique Brown. I'm as Tahiera Monique Brown on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Tahiera Monique Brown, and on my my website is my name spelled out, TahieraMoniqueBrown.com. And they can follow my shows on YouTube, Tahiera Monique Brown on YouTube. I try to stick to the name so it makes it easier for people to find me. And my book, they can find my book at Amazon.com. Annihilator of Innocence at Amazon.com.
Jessica, what do you think about her story? What you heard a little bit?
I'm blown away. It's a miracle. It's a blessing and a miracle. And the fact that, I mean, you had to start over again. literally you had to
Yeah.
start over again, and you have come so far. And the fact that you have such a drive to help others, that's amazing. Wow. God bless you.
Thank you, thank you.
You would,
I
and you
still
would,
live with, I still get lost everywhere. I call it the get lost gas syndrome because I make sure I keep my car full. I try to listen to my GPS, but I'm hard headed sometimes, and I have to go the same exact way to learn how to get around. So I call it Alzheimer's in reverse. Is I'm learning
right.
where Alzheimer's take it away. I'm learning. So, in all these years, there's a lot. The doctors told me I may get back my memory. I may get so I never worried now about memory per se so much as learning new things. So every now and then there's a trigger that gives me a memory, but I have to ask myself, is it a real memory or is it something I'm formulating? So I have collections of all types of stuff I collected to be able to gain who I am, researching trial evidence, researching memories that I had left behind. And as a writer, since I was a little bitty kid, I was able to find myself through my poems, through my stories and stuff like that. So as a victim, I was not allowed to pray. I was not allowed to bathe myself, to care for myself. He bathed me, he dressed me like I was a doll. And so I wrote my prayers in metaphors. So that's what's going to be in the book, The Prayer, is my metaphors that I wrote as prayers when I was a hospital.
How long ago was this? A while ago, or?
Yeah, it's for people like me. It takes a while to come around. So I was a hostage from '86 to '88, and from 1988 to 1990, we were in trial. We had our perpetrator represented himself in court. So yeah, it's a different story. It's a
Ooh.
Some people have asked me as I go out and speak, why do you believe in God? How could you believe? I don't understand why you didn't just end it. I never wanted to end it. I wanted to find help. My choice that I used to try to save my kids, I wouldn't suggest that to anybody, but I had no other choice because I was locked down with my perpetrator, and my kids were as well. I knew the sign when he was going to kill us. I had to do something to stop it. But my life now centers around no matter what a woman does to me, I would never hate a woman. I will always leave my heart open for a woman because if she ever needs me, come back to me. Forget the past, forget the stories, forget what was done. I'm here for you. Your heart is in my hands, and I'm your sanctuary. So I know we women, we have our moments, but come back to me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna love you anyhow, because I know if something like this that happened to me happened to you, I would not turn my back on you. I would be there for you.
Jessica, about 3 minutes. What have you learned during this lockdown, during the quarantine, and what do you want to do going from here? And give your social media links also.
What was the last thing you said?
Give your social media links also.
Okay. So what have I learned? It has made me, I think it has most people, just kind of stop and not to be cliche, but smell the roses. I haven't walked. Well, first of all, I haven't been at home in this area for this long amount of time since I was in high school. I've been gone. I moved away. I moved. I'm in my hometown right now because I've been quarantining with my family. So it's a small town, about an hour and a half-ish away from Nashville. And I used to, when I was younger, I did a lot of sports. I competed in pageants, and so I would try to stay healthy and athletic, and I would run up and down the hills in the 90-degree summer morning heat, in the July or August. But I haven't walked in years, and that's kind of been the one thing that I've been able to keep consistent is go outside and just appreciate and smell, take deep breaths, and notice things that I haven't noticed in so long. So I really appreciate that moment. And I don't know how to say this. It's very bittersweet because I feel like, not that I don't deserve it, but there are so many people that are going through this exact same moment, and they're experiencing such heartache, such pain, trauma, And I appreciate what's happened to me, but I just wish that other people could get that moment too, you know, and I want other people to experience that and get some kind of relief. So it's just kind of made me stop for a second. It's also allowed me to spend some time researching. I've you know, I want to get back into doing more live theater as opposed to just singing. I love plays, but I haven't been in a play in a very long time. And so I've been doing a lot of research. I've been trying to read more plays, read books, listen to more musicals in the entirety if I can find the full soundtracks. So I've tried to spend this time to educate myself as well, to help prepare myself for whatever's next. So and talk about movies and film and TV. I'm very interested in that, and that kind of got started last year when I started doing some background work on some TV pilots and some movies, and that's very eye-opening. So I completely understand how to be thrown into it and to be there, you learn so much so quickly, and also you've got the perfect people to find out more, because that's what they do every day. So who else? I mean, why not? If you're there, take advantage of the time that you're there with crew. And that's something on ships too. And not only would I become really close with my cast, but there's people from all over the world and the crew members, both technical, who run the ship. So you learn so much about things that you probably never would have known anyway, had you not encountered these people and formed friendships and things like that. So I just, I'm hoping that the knowledge that I've gained and kind of this chance that I've had to have a moment and just soak it in, will help me whenever everything does open up, whenever that may be. Whew, it's a long process. I can't believe it's already May. That's what I was thinking. Good grief, it's May. It's already 5. We're at 5 now. We're almost half of the year, and it's, you know, we've been in this position, all of us. Yeah. So it's
And how can people reach out to you?
I'm on Facebook. It's just my name, Jessica Heim. And then also, this is something else that I need to work on, everyone. And you can hold me accountable for it because I'm saying it right now. I don't have any photos, personal photos, videos, nothing of me posted on my Instagram. Boop. So but I do have other people that have tagged me or whatever. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But there is information or something to look at on my Instagram. It just isn't something that I've posted yet. So we're going to work on that as well. But it's Jessica Heim 7. Just my first and last name, all lowercase 7. And so just my first and last name. Facebook, Instagram are the main ones. Facebook primarily. Everything's on Facebook that has been posted thus far. But I will say that there is a benefit concert. So I had traveled to Czech Republic, and I actually flew back at the beginning of all of this, just all of the shutdown. I literally flew away the day that they shut down that town. And then I managed to, it was very strange. It was very surreal, but it was like pretty much every place that I went, as soon as I left it, it shut down. So it was not as dramatic, but in my mind, you know, when someone's running and there's explosions and the roads are caving in and bridges are falling. That's kind of how it felt. I just had
a visual.
You know? But that's kind of how it felt. It was like I was just fleeing, but I didn't know what I was fleeing. I was just trying to get back home. And I had already booked my flights, so I had no way of knowing that was how that was all going to pan out. I had booked my flights a month in advance. And then even in New York, I flew back through New York, and same thing. I flew on the Monday that I think they shut down schools in New York. And it was also right before everything, you know, spread and just got so bad like it did. So I feel blessed that I I feel like God kept me safe and healthy and helped me avoid everything. I never got sick. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. But anyway, all that to say, there was a couple of concerts that I performed in then. That's why I was there. And the same person I performed with at that time has decided to put on a benefit concert, live streaming of local bands in a town in Czech Republic. And he asked me and one of my very talented musician friends to do a song as a guest spot. So, you know, they're streaming live, but they need some time to do some turnaround in between each of the performances. So he and I will be doing, my Nashville musician friend and I will be performing a song as a guest spot in between all that. And that's happening on May 16th at 7:30 p.m., which is, now we get weird with the times. So Central Time, we're 7 hours behind. So it'd be 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on May 16th. And
with that, I'm going to end it because it's going to shut us off. So I'm going to bring you both back. We're going to have a part 2. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end this, and I want to say, this is Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, the Women's Broadcast TV Network, and we'll see you next.